So with Starfield being so close to being playable, I wanted to go over all of the launch information you need to know. And this starts with launch dates and times. So if you've bought at least the premium edition of Starfield, you'll be able to play the game on either August 31st or September 1st, depending on where you are in the world. So for me, I'll be able to start playing Starfield on August 31st at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And likewise, if you've only bought the base version of Starfield, you'll be able to start playing the game on September 5th or September 6th, depending on where you are in the world. And the actual time you'll be able to start playing Starfield is the same time, whether it's the early access version or the official launch. And since there's preloading and this is a single player game, you shouldn't have any issues playing at basically the exact time the game launches. You won't have to really worry about any servers going down or anything like that. And if you're enjoying my Starfield coverage, make sure to subscribe. This channel is solely based on Starfield and we have tons of videos coming soon. And speaking of preload, anywhere you've purchased the game from should be allowing preloads at this point. Steam, Game Pass, the Windows Store, basically anywhere you're able to already preload the game. And I would very much recommend doing this because Starfield is a pretty massive game. Now the actual file size is going to differ between PC and consoles, but they are both labeled as requiring 125 gigs of space. Now this isn't what the actual download size is going to be. When I downloaded it on Steam, it was 86 gigs, but when the game is actually launched, there will be another sort of download that unpacks all of those files, and all of those unpacked files will probably be closer to that 125 gigs. And I also want to go over the PC system requirements because there's been a lot of confusion around this. The main thing being that an SSD is required. Now you still should be able to technically play Starfield without an SSD, but there may be stability issues and at minimum it would have ridiculously long loading times. But past that, when it comes to system requirements for PC games as a whole, there's not really a set standard to what minimum or recommended actually means. If I would have to assume, minimum is probably like medium settings at 30 FPS and recommended is probably high settings at 30 to 60 FPS. But with PCs, there's a ton of additional variables. And if you are somebody that doesn't have a PC that meets the minimum requirements, specifically when talking about your CPU, your memory, or your GPU, you may still be able to play the game. In the past, I've definitely played a ton of PC games where my PC did not meet the minimum requirements, but if you drop the settings a lot, you're usually able to play the games just fine. So if you're below the minimum requirements, I would still give it a go. You'll still probably be able to play the game, even if you have to drop all settings to low. And if you're anywhere near the recommended settings, you shouldn't have an issue playing this game. Even though it is a very expansive game, these requirements will not be based around getting like 120 FPS. The recommended is probably 60 FPS at high settings at 1080p. But that's pretty much everything you need to know for the launch of Starfield, so thanks for watching.